Alrighty guys, I don't have too much time today, probably about like maybe a little less than an hour. Sorry about last weekend on the live stream. My office Wi-Fi wasn't working, and then I was trying to do it off my phone's Wi-Fi, and then 45 minutes later it cut out, and I was just like, alright, well, I guess we'll just take the L on that. I feel like I was able to answer pretty good amount of stuff. There were some people that came in that day, so hopefully if you went back and watched that video, it kind of helped you out too. But we'll kind of wait here for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 minutes, and then jump into something. Comment. Alright, so not sure what I'm going to be talking about today. We shall see if someone leaves a comment over something, so I'll pin this little message up on the live chat. And then if you're coming back to this video later on, once it's already uploaded, and you do have questions, leave them down below on this video. That way, next video I can address them and bring that up. So I'm going to go through my email and just see what the builders have been sending me. Let's see here. Okay, alright, we got 2 people watching right now, so hopefully some more people join in. Started this one a little after 12, but I have a meeting over at Mantua Point at 2 o'clock, and that's like, I don't know, I think that's like 40 minutes away from my office, so probably like good 45 minutes, 50 minutes on this live stream today, so hopefully some people ask some questions, but other than that, I'll go through my email and just try to find some see what some of these builders are doing. Let's do this. Okay. Toll Brothers. Okay, so Toll Brothers new phase in Light Farms just opened, so let me jump to that. Guess we'll talk about that real quick. Light Farms is pretty popular on there. Let's see what the collection. Let's see. New phase released. They just released the new phase in here on their Elite collection. Yeah, new phase open. Okay, let's see what they're offering here. So they're starting at $591, but I've budgeted another $100K on top of that. Yeah, even more. Like their quick move-ins are starting at $674,000. This one's at $699. So let's see here. And I feel like this one of those has been on the market for a while now. I think it's way too expensive to be a single story. Okay, I've done a couple of these. Sorry, I had to get some water there, I was dying. I've done a couple of these tours, like the Ellie and maybe the Ridgehaven I've done a tour of. The Ridgehaven bathrooms I'm not really a fan of on this size, because the bathroom when you go in, it's very claustrophobic, and how they have it set up. You do get these split vanities, which is like cool and all, but the split vanities are really small. I just find this primary bathroom to be really weird, and how the primary suite is just like bumped way the hell out like that. I mean, that's not a huge deal, but these bathrooms are just kind of funky. They're on a 50-foot lot, so I don't know why they set up this one like this, but the bathrooms on these, not the biggest fan of. I walked a couple of them. The other living room, you get the high ceilings, great and all, but alright, so someone left. Ebenezer left. How is Wilson Creek Meadows with Pulte? Let me just go to their Okay, we'll jump to the search just for other people that don't know. So he's asking Wilson Creek, Meadows, Pulte. Let me just show you guys where this is on the map. That way you can understand that. So you got the Collin County outer loop up here, right? You're kind of situated down in this spot. There is a rental community in here. The new police headquarters is getting built here for Salina, and then this field here is where the Costco and the some other HEB. I think HEB is coming up a little bit further, but like the Costco shopping, grocery stores, a lot of things, restaurants coming into that area. So you're relatively close to that. But if you're asking me specifically about the builder, I would take a Trophy Signature over a Pulte home. But I think if you're going with Pulte and Trophy Signature, I think you're just compromising. Like, I think it's one or two things in this market. Like, somewhere you're making a compromise, right? You're either like finding something that's within your budget, or it's a very low end or not as high of a quality builder. So I've kind of put Pulte in line with like not really a high end builder. They're going to be more of like a budget. I mean, all these builders are production builders, right? So they're not custom builders, so you're not going to get that really authentic custom feel and high quality, but there are some higher quality production builders, and there are some very low quality production builders. I'd take a Pulte home over a DR Horton and a Syntex and an Impression home, but I wouldn't take them over a Trophy Sig. I'd rather have a CB Jenny townhome than a Pulte home, but then again, it's like most people want to be on their own lot. I just find the build quality on some of the Pulte homes not to be up to par with a lot of things. Same thing with like DR Horton or that type of stuff. Now, if you come to me and you ask me, hey Daniel, I'm looking at a Pulte home, can you help represent me? Will you do business with Pulte? Yeah, I'll do business with Pulte. If you give me a call, and I've talked about this before in my other live streams with some other builders, and you guys probably already know the names of some of those, I will honestly tell you that I'm not the agent for you, because I just see that as a liability. But overall, like, let's go to the neighborhood. There is also going to be a pit in here, and I'd rather pay for it, like, for an example, I'd rather be on a 40-foot lot in Wilson Creek, the parks at Wilson Creek, than a Pulte home on like a 50-foot lot or something in there, because you're going to be paying a pit in both of them, but you're really going to be paying a pit in this for nothing. Like, you're just going to get this one small swimming pool. Like, if I'm having to pay a pit, I'd rather be paying it for something that's going to give me like volleyball courts, workout rooms, like just a whole skew of things, right? Rather than also having to pay a pit and not really getting a whole bunch within the community. So let's just go into here. I'm interested to see what their prices look like right now. Okay, so they're doing half off options up to $40,000, so that's kind of interesting. Let's do home site map. So there are, I guess there are power lines that kind of run through parts of this. I don't think they're a huge problem with this neighborhood. Shouldn't really be a problem. They're over a little bit more west, but they're not showing anything that's like available on their home site, so that doesn't really help. All right, let's look at homes. So Classic Series, is that all they're, okay, they're also offering the Terrace Series. Yeah, so 544. Okay, so this is starting at 565 North Lake. Was there a specific build plan, Ebenezer, that you were interested in? Or just in general? I wonder if they have anything. I'm going to look on my MLS to see if let's see what Wilson Creek Meadows is looking like. Okay, the Riverdale plan. Alright, let me look through that one. I think I've talked about that one before. My previous videos. Let's see. Okay, so they're at 645 new construction. I'm just on my MLS right now. I'm looking at this home that's on the MLS for. Okay, are you looking at the Riverdale plan? That's a quick move-in that's listed at $620,000 right now. That about 2,800 square feet, 5-bed, 4-bath. Or are you trying to do a build from scratch? Alright, let's look at this Riverdale. I feel like I've talked about this build plan before. I think this build plan is popular with people. Alright, so they're on their smaller lots. Yeah, I think it is one of the more popular ones. Is there a... Sometimes they do a 3D tour. Yeah, building from the ground up. Have you already started to go under contract with them, or are you still like looking around at stuff? All right, let me just show people this floor plan. That way, you know, someone else is interested. Okay, you're just looking to build on a 50-foot lot. What options are they offering? Let's see, optional bed, bath. Optional sink, optional shower, owner's bathroom. Okay. See, what I don't understand on this one... Oh, no, it is a door. Okay, awesome. Perfect. See, I like the floor plans, and I'm coming across this more and more, and this is maybe something you guys have noticed. You know, there's only one... Most of these floor plans, it's getting better on some that I'm noticing, but before I was noticing a lot of floor plans where the only way to access the walk-in closet was through the bathroom. Like, you'd have to go through the owner's suite, then to the owner's bathroom, and then you'd be in the walk-in closet. So if somebody's in the bathroom getting ready, you kind of have to like walk in through there. Not like a huge deal, right? But I do think it's nicer when you have a floor plan that you can kind of get in there through both ways to the walk-in closet. So like this one, it has the laundry. Vanities are split, which I think is good. Let's see, gathering room. What's the size of this bedroom? 15 by 13. It's a little bit smaller than what I typically see on stuff, so maybe you're compromising on the owner suite and the size of that. Walk-in closet is not going to be anything spectacular. See, I don't like this floor plan because of where they put the kitchen, but then again, you might be okay with this floor plan. I'd rather have the kitchen across from like the gathering room and the TV and the media. It's like when you're in the kitchen, you can kind of watch the TV, rather than how this one's set up where you're not even gonna, you know, it's kind of a disconnect between those two rooms, but you might be okay with that. It is across from the dining, but I'm finding more people don't really care about that dining room, so I'd rather have that be just another bedroom in there for that space. Because it just seems like a lot of square footage that isn't really going to be... Oh no, that's your formal. Okay, that makes sense. I thought that was a formal dining. No, that's fine. I just rather have the kitchen across from the gathering room. Are you working with an agent, Ebenezer? Or a real estate agent right now? 2-car garage. There are some 50s I come across that have 3-car garages. I don't know about this neighborhood. Man, they're doing $40,000 towards options. They're really trying to sell those Pulte homes. Usually I'm seeing like 20K. 40K is a lot on that one. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, Ebenezer, thank you for letting me know that. See, not only do I like hearing people's opinions about when they go look at builders, kind of how that goes and the vibe of everything, right? I also find that once I put people once I put people in a house and we've closed on that house, I do still check up on my buyers and be like, hey, how are people treating you? Highland Homes has been fine with treating people afterwards. It's kind of interesting, and I know the sales agent at Highland Homes, but then again, maybe you just caught the wrong person. I'm not too sure. They got like 4 different people in there. But like, just for an example right now, because I want to keep you guys updated with just things I see. Recently at Taylor Morrison, was giving one of my buyers a hard time on their stuff. So like I said, usually when people come in and they ask me about certain builders, I try to give them some of my experience with some of the other buyers that I've worked with and the problems that I've kind of run into. Nothing's gonna be perfect, I'm telling you right now. Like you think new construction, it's brand new, it's gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be. Okay, Ebenezer. Well, if you're looking to work with an agent or you want to ask me more questions, I have my information down below, so feel free to send me a text. Or if you have more questions, just throw them up in the chat. But I'd love to work with you on your home search. It's unfortunate that they kicked you out. Wait, what do you mean by I got kicked out? I'm interested. What does that mean? Like they just told you to leave? Or they just like, get out of here, you're not allowed? That's interesting that they... Okay, so Millie Bill, have you modified a home's framework during construction before wall installation, like internal frame? What was the process like? What's been the average cost for change post-framing but pre-wall? I realize it will vary from builder to builder. Well, Millie, that's not a thing, I don't think. Unless you were maybe building like custom, these builders aren't gonna do that because it's gonna slow down their whole process. So I have never, now I have come across a family wanting to change something, but never have, like they've gone in and changed something internally on the structure of the home, because if they do that, they have to put in the work process with this, because the thing is like when you go in there on your initial meeting to build your home, like that first meeting with the new construction is you're getting your base price, you're getting your lot premium, and then you're getting your structure upgrades. You're doing your structure right then because they have to take those plans. The only thing I've seen them kind of delay on and not be like, we need the answer right now, is what color brick you want. Usually what they'll do is you'll go under contract, they'll give you some addresses to go drive around and look at those other brick colors. And then you're having to make that decision within like a week, or probably about a week, not even 2 weeks. Having to make that decision pretty quick, because then they're submitting those plans to the city. Okay, if you wanted to change something internally, that would probably be handled after closing on your own time. The builder's not going to really waste their time with you having it, unless this is fully custom, right? And you're bought a lot, you're building custom, something happens, you want to change something, then they'll do, that can happen. But like with these production builders, and when they're trying to put up homes as quick as possible, like no, I've never seen that be a thing. What's been the average cost for changes post-framing but pre-wall instruction? I have no idea. I just never have run into a production builder doing that. And then I also think it also depends on the time of the year, cost. I wouldn't, I'm not a contractor, so I'm not really your person to talk about the average cost of changing post framing and what that looks like right now in the current market. Wilson will send you a message. Wilson will send you a message. All right, Ebenezer, they'll send me a message? I'm confused on that. Is Wilson somebody? You're talking about the parks at Wilson Creek or Wilson Creek Meadows? Who's Wilson? Who is this Wilson? We're almost at like 1,700 subscribers, which shout out to you guys, but I don't really care about that. It's really the number that's getting me right now is the amount of people returning, and the audience returning to watch. Like anywhere from 300 to 500 people are returning to my channel to watch videos, which I think is just crazy. So shout out to you guys that come back almost every day. That's so awesome. Okay, so Ebenezer says, no, more like I left because I was asking questions and they did not have time for me. I waited for 10 minutes and left. I drive by the Pulte and had way more information in the area, and they were nice. Yeah, I sometimes, and this was okay, so this is what I'm also seeing, and I'm also getting flashbacks of the market in 2021 when I was walking through these builders, okay? It's all about how busy they are. So what I noticed back in 2021 is when you walked into these builders and parts of 2022, they weren't standoffish, but they were kind of like more of like, are you wasting my time or are you not wasting my time? Like, what are we doing here, right? And then over the past year, they've been way more welcoming, to be like, hey, how's it going? We want to talk with you. We have time for you. And then some houses now I've been walking into that are quite busy, with people running around, people coming into the model, people going and walking the house, and then kind of, so that also might kind of tell you where the market's headed in the sense of demand right now. Also, because now builders are going to start changing their attitudes when you walk in, and this is back when this was happening back in 2021, 2022. So it's funny, Ebenezer, I'm sorry you had to deal with that, but that's kind of interesting to me that that's kind of the mentality, because that tells me that the builders within that specific home or that specific neighborhood are getting more busy, and they just don't want to deal with people that don't want to waste their time. Whether or not that was the right thing to do at that moment with you, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm not the biggest. The only builder I actually truly love, if you were to ask me like, hey Daniel, if you were to work for a builder one day, who would that builder be? It would be Tradition Homes. All the other builders I would never work with, in the sense of like work for them as a sales agent. But Tradition Homes, unfortunately, is priced out of a lot of people's budget. All right, can you do a tour of Spiritus Ranch community in Little Elm? Flora, that's what Flora Rosa asked. Now, the reason I haven't done let's do this. Let's go to New Home Source. The reason I haven't done a video over this community, let's see, find this. Hold on. I did one over Linden Hills with Lennar just because a lot of people were asking me about it, but this one's Beezer, which I like Beezer better than those, so I'll do this one. If you would have said, hey, can you do a neighborhood tour over Silverado, which is that D.R. Horton community, I'd be like, no, not doing that. Because there's just literally, I won't do a video over that neighborhood. Even though people have sent me messages asking me, but I'll do this. I'll write this down. If this is what you want, Flora, I'll get this for you. Let me just show people where this is on the map. This is going to be over in Little Elm. I think, see, D.R. Horton is in here. See, that's why I forgot about that. See, that's why I haven't done it. I mean, they have Pulte, they have Beezer, they have the other builders in there, and I'll do this. I'm fine with that. If it was like a full D.R. Horton neighborhood, I'd probably stick away from it, but okay, we'll do this. I'll get this out to you next week. All right, deal? Next Wednesday, Flora? I'll write this down. We'll get this going. Because these are budget builders. They're not on the high end, so that's going to be reflected in the prices. It's also, it's in Little Elm, so it's going to be reflected in those prices too, because Little Elm is going to have a lot cheaper options. Okay, so Ebenezer says, like you said, salespeople need to be selling to us and not us selling to them because the area has name recognition. And yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, you're buying $500,000, and that's the thing that's so crazy to me, is I think these builders, I feel like some of them have the mentality like, you're cheap, like you're buying a $500,000, because if you look at the market, like once you start getting into Salina and Prosper, like those are small, cheap houses when you look at the whole market for new construction for Prosper and Salina. So when you walk in and and you have a budget of $600,000 or $550,000 or whatever, I feel like those builders treat you as a cheaper person. But in my opinion, it's like, dude, you're buying $500,000. Like you're spending $500,000. You're paying $500,000. It just seems weird, like they're viewing that money differently. Like maybe if you were a $1 million buyer, you probably be getting a lot more respect for you. But unfortunately, like where it's at, you're on the cheaper end of a buyer. So I feel like that's sometimes how I see the builders or people get treated in that way, which is unfortunate. Because it's also like, okay, well if you're looking at the market, I was talking this to a buyer of mine when we went to go look at Painted Tree over this past week, and she's spending she's looking at different areas, and she's looking at smaller floor plans on 40-foot lots, and we're going up north even further to look at 55s for like even a bigger house for like about the same price. But she's gonna get about like 600, 700 more square feet within the house. It's gonna be on a bigger lot of land. I just feel like for that much money, you shouldn't be having to compromise. But with this market and where it kind of stands, and sometimes you just have to. Wilson is my brother. Okay, he's also buying. All right, awesome. Well, I'll throw in a deal for you guys. That's usually what I do. Sometimes I work with families who are, you know, a cousin's buying or a brother's buying, and I'll usually give a lot more money back at closing. Usually right now, like if you guys come to me and you say, hey, what incentives are you offering to work with you? I'm usually doing something where I'm matching what the builder or the lender's giving back at closing, or I'm giving 1% or 0.5% back, depending on if there's like a bonus or something else with the builder. So it kind of just depends on the builder and what the deal is, but I'd love to work with you, Ebenezer, and kind of help you with that process and figuring that stuff out. Especially when building a house, that's the other thing is like some people ask me, they're like, hey, what do you offer for your services? Well, I think by now I've kind of seen a good trend over like what people pick, what's going to bring you value. I'm not an appraiser at the end of the day, right? So I don't have that license on me, but I do know the trends. I do see what people like, what they don't like. I also can give an idea, like little things like, you know, what type of tiling you pick on your backsplash. All right, I can let you know like, hey, if you go with this tiling, it's going to be more wavy. So if you're going for more of a flush look on your outlets, just keep in mind that you're not going to really get that. Because I've seen some people go with different tile patterns that are a little bit more smooth. You get more of a flush look on that outlet. And then I've seen other tile patterns where they're more of like a wavy contour. And then your outlet is kind of like, you know, not flush to that wall, so it looks a bit wonky. So you might not like that look. So it's just little things like that I think I can help have people think about, especially when they're building new construction. The Riverdale plan, I think the only thing I don't like about this, and this is just how I live, like right, I'm not living in this house, this is you living in the house, but for me, I'd rather have the kitchen across from like the gathering room and then have like the dining. I love how they call this a cafe. That's so funny to me. Have it more over on this side where the covered patio is, but then that compromises your covered patio. So, you know, if you're wanting a bigger covered patio, then let me look at these other floor plans. Was it the Riverdale? I know I've talked about some of these. Let me look at what else is priced in this range. So, Riverdale. Lexington is a lot more expensive. Let's look at the San Marcos, because that's about in the same price range, so I don't want to go like too far outside the budget. View home. Let's look at this floor plan. Okay, so yeah, see, I don't like this San Marcos plan because you're compromising on walk-in closet, and then you have the vanities right by each other. That's not a huge deal, but I do find more people like the vanity splits. They're not really having to share with their spouse. They just have this kitchen and cafe on the opposite side of the gathering room, which I think that's a bit backwards. So it doesn't look like they're going to really offer that. Let me go back one more. Oh, let's look at the Caldwell. These are all about in the same budget. Alright, so you don't get big as patio space. Okay, let's talk about the Beezer plan next. We'll talk about that next. Okay, let me just look at these floor plans. I honestly think that Riverdale one is set up the best. But I do like how this kitchen is on the exterior wall rather than the interior wall. I really don't like when kitchens are set up in the middle of the house. I like them when they're on the outside. And then this is also further, but this compromises on your covered patio. And then you also don't get the walk-in from the laundry. So I guess it would just depend on what's more important to you. What's the second floor look like? Second floor doesn't even get those high ceilings. Yeah, it looks like it is over there because you have the attic space above there. So I don't even know. I think that Riverdale is probably the best option. Let me go back. And then we'll hop over to Beezer. I just want to look at these. All right, let's see what the Lexington get at $591. Okay, yeah, so this one I think is set up way better and has way more value. So if you can stretch that budget You get dual walk-in closets, which I think is good. Bigger covered patio. Even though this kitchen is in the middle, which I'm not the biggest fan of, right? It is kind of still in with the gathering room, and the gathering room isn't really sectioned off to its own thing. And then you also look like you get a game room, and then you get a bit of an openness to down below, but you don't really get over the... That's the thing with the Pulte houses, is that they kind of struggle on having the high ceilings within the living rooms. So if you're looking for that, some of these aren't going to offer that. Some of them do, but I've just noticed sometimes on the Pulte home. I don't know, maybe I do like that Riverdale one more. I don't know. At the end of the day, Pulte is just going to be more on that lower end, right? I would say they're on the higher lower end, right? But they are going to be on like kind of the lower end. Same thing with Beazer and some of these other production builders, but I mean, it's just because, unfortunately, you know, you're trying to stay within a budget, so, you know, going with your budget, you might have to compromise on quality. So that's kind of the thing with, you know, and it's unfortunate because you're spending $500,000, so you feel like you shouldn't really have to be compromising on quality, but I guess that's just sometimes how it goes, right? Okay, let's go to this. Let's do Beazer. I mean, I'd rather take a, maybe I'd take a Beazer over a Pulte. I guess I'd definitely take a Beazer over a DR Horton, so thank you, Flora, for asking me about a Beazer home rather than a DR Horton floor plan. Appreciate that. Let's do this. Alright, let's look at this Summerfield plan. So once again, and I'll talk about this area real quick. So this area is kind of like hitting down right off the lake. So, okay, I also want people to keep this in mind. When you are by major lake systems, okay, the foundation and things, your soil in those areas is gonna be a little bit more loosey-goosey with things. So I have found that homes that are close to major river systems, as in like the Trinity River that runs all the way through Dallas up into Lake Louisville, or homes that are kind of close to Lake Louisville, have more foundation issues later on in life, rather than homes that are a bit more tucked away where there's not really any, like, you know, there's not really any lake systems. So just kind of keep in mind, right, your house might be fine at the end of the day, but I have noticed, just from experience of walking right, your new construction house is going to settle and you're going to have some small minor cracks, but I'm talking about major, like, staggered, you know, cuts through the brick or cracks through the brick that aren't just like straight lines but actually kind of staggered. Noticed it more on homes that are closer to lake systems and around lake systems rather than not. So just kind of keep that in mind. When you're buying around a lake, you might really have foundation issues later on in life. But it also depends on, like, what's your lot look like, how's that located, what's the kind of the grading on the lot. You know, that's one of the most important things that I think people don't really keep in mind, is how is the home graded and how is water going to go away from the house, or where is water coming in? Because I see some of these neighborhoods, and I've talked about this before on some of the neighborhood tours, where like there'll be a house at the top of the hill and then there'll kind of be, you know, steps down. Well, I'd rather have that home on the top of the hill rather than at the bottom, because all the water is going to be going away from my foundation, rather than being at the bottom where all that water is kind of going into your foundation and going downwards on the hill. So keep that in mind too, guys. So I just want to talk about that real quick. Okay, let's look at these plans. All right, let's look at this Summerfield plan. I really don't do a lot of business with Beazer or Pulte. I've done a few, but I'm doing more of my business. And I think it just comes down to, I do more tours over Highland, American Legend, Toll Brother, Tradition Homes, you know, these builders. Now, I do some First Texas, and I would put First Texas quality kind of in line with these Beazer. I think more people go with the First Texas home because they're usually First Texas is building on like a pretty big lot, or it's a pretty big house. I love how I just tried to unscrew this water bottle cap and it was already unscrewed. Come on, Dana. All right, let's look at this plan. Okay, the Summerfield plan. All right, let's look at this one. And then I'll also just throw in the chat my phone number right now. So if anyone wants to send me a text later on, or you got questions that pop up in your head, there's my phone number too. Okay, so for this floor plan, I don't want your special offer. Receive firewood flooring on to-be-built Beezer homes for a limited time. Great, thanks. Sounds like a deal. Okay, this floor plan. Let's see how this one's set up. So you get the kitchen over to the side. See, this is the type of floor plan I like a lot more, because I like the floor plans, and this is just how I see myself living in a house, right? And you might be totally different, but for me, the covered patio isn't super important to where I think I want to add a sliding glass door. Like, I don't really care about that, but I do find it that these covered, because here's the thing, is like these lots are so close to each other, I think you try to find the privacy where you can. So when you have like a dining room set up like this and the primary bedroom set up and there's kind of walls shared on both sides and you're kind of hidden in this nook, rather than like, let's go, you see how this covered patio is just open? So when you're sitting on your covered patio, all your neighbors on the left and the right side, now the neighbor behind you is always going to see you, but the neighbors on the left and the right side, or at least the right side, are going to see you. The left side won't see you because you have this wall blocked off, but just depending on how the house is flipped is kind of what I'm talking about. You don't really get that privacy from your neighbor on that side. So this one's kind of like you're hidden more in a nook, which I like a lot more. But that's just how I see myself living in a house. The walk-in closet looks like a decent size. Vanities are close to each other, which, you know, I like it better when the vanities are split, but that's kind of the deal with this one. You get pretty long foyer, 2-car, laundry's over on that side. I think it's annoying where they put the laundry room. Yeah, I don't like where they put the laundry room on this one. I don't think that's a huge deal breaker, but not really the biggest fan on where they put that. Let's see what else. Bedroom at the front, kind of has a bathroom attached with it, which I think's all right. Let me see what this second floor looks like. Flora, was there another floor plan that you were kind of looking through? This one's open to below, so I like that. That's really nice. Was there another floor plan that you were kind of comparing with? I also like how the foyer is, or foyer? Is that foyer? Call it the foyer. We're here in Texas. This is the foyer. Open to below. I like how they have that too. So that's what I was saying. I was like, you know, when I was kind of conflicted in my head, I'm like, would I take a Beezer over a Pulte? It's kind of like, yeah, in some aspects. It really just depends on the floor plans that you guys are comparing and the prices and what those look like. So let me see how far away this, because we're already coming up on 40 minutes. This live stream's been flying by. Maybe I got to start these a little bit later. So shout out to everyone that's been joining in today. I gotta see how far away this is. Alright, this is 35 minutes away. My meeting's at 2 o'clock, so I gotta leave here by, if I do the math right, 1:25. Okay, you're also looking at the Blackburn. Let's view this. I like this. We're doing this now. I like it when people are in here and I'm comparing houses, because I got something to talk about and I'm just not like sitting here with my thumb up my butt. Alright, here we go. Let's look at the Blackburn now. I also think I like the elevation on the Summerfield better than what this looks like on the Blackburn. I would say no to the, like for me, this is a big no-no. These dual, or the split garages, I'd rather have those connected, right? So that's something structurally that I would ask about. Okay. Oh, no. No. I'm already looking at this like dining area. No. This is a no for me. Yeah, I think that other one's better. I don't like how this is set up. No. Alright, I'm already looking at it. I mean, I don't like where this breakfast nook is set up. I don't like, what else don't I like? I don't like, yeah, and then you get the dining across. I mean, what's the point of this space? I feel like this is just a bunch of big wasted space in this middle breakfast part. Because you got your dining over here. Like, are you even going to use this space to put a table? Like, no, you're probably going to be eating over here, which is going to be away from your great room where your TV is. Because I find that most people want to have, like, you know, they can see the TV at least from where they're eating, because that's just the age we live in. Now, have you guys seen these the new Apple VR stuff? What's it called? The new Apple goggles or glasses? Apple glasses? What are they called again? The Vision Pro. Dude, I was watching videos of the Vision Pro. I really think that at some point that people aren't going to have TVs within their houses because they're just going to be wearing goggles. It's kind of a scary thing. But yeah, I don't like the black brand. This covered patio too is super skinny. Don't like that either. It's long, you know, but it's got no girth on it. You know what I'm saying, guys? Does that make sense? Here we go. You get a loft. Yeah, see, I think I like that other one better. What do these elevations look like? Maybe that breakfast room isn't too bad. You're not really going to use that as a breakfast room. They got the tray ceilings. I don't like how this bedroom, the roof line, you see how this roof line kind of goes into that bedroom? I don't really like that. I'd try to have a bedroom that's, you know, fully boxed in and not compromising on the height, because it's just going to make it feel a little bit smaller. Maybe this one's okay. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh on this. But I think I like the other floor plan better. Alright, you said the Lexington. Let me look at the Lexington. Alright, would I rather take the Lexington over the Summerfield? Let's figure that out right now. Did we look at this one? Yeah, so let me just refresh my brain. Oh, I guess I had the tab open here. Durr. Alright, let me flip back and forth from that one. So maybe if you care about having separate closets, maybe the Lexington's better, but it does look like the Summerfield is going to have about the same square footage when it comes to both of those closets if you combine those with the Lexington. So I don't think you're really compromising there. Bathrooms are going to kind of be set up the same way. But I just like me living in a house, I think I like... Yeah, I like the Summerfield better. And it's just because of that dining, that primary with that covered patio in the middle there. I just like that a lot more. I'm just trying to figure out what else. You are going to get a bigger garage, which might be more important to you. I do like how you get a bigger garage in the Lexington, but I think it just comes down to like how you see yourself living in the space. About the same size bedrooms. Yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan of kitchens being right in the middle of the house. I think that's just like a bit funky to me. So I think I'd go with the Summerfield, I think. I also think like this elevation looks kind of nice. I don't like how these are, you know, pointed triangles on the roof, and then the left side of the roof is like completely flat. Just kind of looks a little weird, but I do like kind of the right side of the elevation of that home, what that looks like. I also don't mind that one. That one looks okay. Okay, what else we got here? Anyone else got questions? I mean, but when we talk about quality with Beezer and Pulte, they're going to be right in line with each other. So I can, if you came to me and you're like, hey, American Legend versus Pulte, I'd be like, American Legend. But then again, it's like usually I only am answering that question when I'm first starting with people and they haven't really started a home search and they're just trying to figure out answers. Usually once someone's like done their homework, or let's say they're on a certain budget and they just don't know what they can buy, usually I'm not having people ask me a Highland between a Pulte, because those are just these are usually two separate price ranges and two different types of buyers. Sometimes it happens, but it usually happens with people that just have really no idea what's going on with the market and what things look like, right? Alright, I flipped back over to Light Farms. Let me see what these lots look like. Anyone else got questions? I've got about 23 more minutes left. Do they have their plat map on here? Where's their plat map? Okay, let's see what I would take. These are all the lots they have available. 6,000, 6,500. I really like these lots along Wimberley that are facing south. Or no, they're facing, that's north. I gotta look at this map. North, east, west. Okay, these lots are facing west, which I'd rather have those. That would be nice, because you get the morning sun, and then in the afternoon, once it gets hot, it cool off. So those homes are facing west along Wimberley, which I do like. Now these homes that are on the back side, facing out towards the east, these homes, those patios are gonna be cooking, boy. So just kind of keep that in mind too. These north-facing homes are going to get a lot of nice light. We're over here at Light Farms, guys, so if you just like jumped into this live stream, you're confused at what we're looking at. We're looking at Light Farms in Toll Brothers' new Elite collection. So I like these that are facing out towards the north. You get some nice sun in through your windows in your great room. Now the patio would be hot probably from like 12 to 3, but then probably cool off because the sun would just be over a little bit further. But you would have some pretty good heat coming into that patio at some points of the day, but not like the east facing houses and how those would be. Yeah, these are their 55-foot lots or 50-foot lots, and then they have the Select collection, which is like 60-foot lots over there. Okay. Anyone else we got 8 people watching right now, so shout out to you guys. Anyone else got questions? I'm trying to look through my email now to see if there's any other types of builders or something. What's also interesting is like, who was it? Let's see, Brightland. Are they still doing it? This is interesting. What is this? Georgetown. That's not. Trying to see if they're still offering. Okay, now they're offering a 3.49. This said 2.29, but now they're offering a 3.49. So I've kind of seen builders go from like a 599 down to a 499, and then I've seen some other ones that are like at a 299 or a 3.99 with some things. So whether or not that's builders trying to get ahead of where these rates are going to go, the rates are sitting at, and these are buy downs, right? Like this isn't what your mortgage rate's gonna be. It's gonna be, okay, so the interest rates got down to like 6.75, and now it looks like they're going back up to 7%. So it looks like we're just gonna be staying in this zone for a while now. I don't really think anything's gonna majorly change until the Fed starts pivoting, and I don't think that's really gonna be till May, more the summertime. You might see something in March, but I don't think so. And also, like, like as running a business, I think for me, for my real estate business, I kind of rather have rates kind of staying where they're at, because right now there's still options. I'm afraid that these rates start slipping, it's just going to get harder for people, because like I feel like people are already having to compromise somewhere on buying, and there's not a lot of options out there even right now. Which goes back into my point about like, man, you got to compromise. I mean, you spend $500,000 and you're still having to compromise on something, which is really frustrating for people. Yeah, Steve, I think I do too. I don't think you're wrong there. I think I like it over the Blackburn too. So I'm glad we're in agreement there, Steve. So hopefully that helps you out, Flora. So you got someone else backing it too. Okay. We got any other areas? Any other questions, my peeps? This might be where I end it, because I'm about to have to go jump in the car and drive about 40 minutes. Any final questions? All right, so next week I'm going to be coming out with Spiritus Ranch. That'll be a video, neighborhood tour. Steve wants the Princeton area. Okay. Do you know anything about Princeton? Are you looking to buy in Princeton? The one thing with Princeton right now, okay, you're going to look at it, you're going to see they have good school districts, you're going to see the price ranges, right? They don't have like the high-end builders over there. They still have some of those budget, right? They got Lennar over there and those types of builders. So like that's really why I haven't gone over to Princeton, is because there's just not really good builders that I really do like, but it is cheaper for people. The thing that's really frustrating about Princeton, and let me just show this on the map, is, okay, Steve, have you been to Princeton though? Are you from the area? Okay, so right now 380 is an absolute cluster fudge. All right, I'm gonna keep it G-rated right now. Just know, if you were having to commute into McKinney, this 380 here, all right, getting into Princeton is an absolute nightmare, and this will not be fixed for years to come. They don't even have, like, they've talked about plans and some things, but they're not everything that they're working on 380 right now is kind of over in the Prosper and Little Elm area. Over here, it is a huge pain. I'll even drive around here at like noon and you'll run into major traffic, because a lot of this is a 2-lane getting into Princeton. So, you know, if you are, just keep this in mind, if you are someone that commutes out to things, this is a pain. I'd honestly rather buy up in Anna or Van Alstyne and just hop on 75, which is a freeway, and be down in McKinney. I feel like at certain commuting times, you'd actually get up into Van Alstyne quicker than getting to your house being over in Princeton due to the traffic on 380. I know that sounds weird because you look at Princeton and you see how close it is to McKinney, but I just find some crazy traffic going on with Princeton right now. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, if you're going to live in that house for 10 years, 20 years, yeah, you're probably going to be fine, but you know, if you're doing something just for a bit of time and you're just coming into the area just to buy a house, and then you're going to really kind of settle in and figure out where you want to move after that, those 2 years or 3 years are going to be a nightmare right now, because I don't even think this is going to be expanded for a long time. I'd really rather buy up into Anna or over on Melissa or further up north into McKinney rather than buying into Princeton. But then again, if you're looking at prices in Princeton, I think the prices in Princeton are kind of comparable with Van Alstyne. Van Alstyne, I think the school districts were rated pretty decent over there. I think they're better than Anna. I don't know about Melissa and where those are ranked. The builder was I was talking with Van Alstyne and some of the builders in there. The builders were telling me like, oh, we got a great rated school district, but then again, you could go to Little Elm builders and they're going to tell you that it's a good rated school district, but it's not when you kind of compare things. So yeah, Steve, I would just be cautious, right? Like, just kind of think about that. 380 right now is an absolute nightmare. I've also done a driving tour on 380, so if you want to see what that looks like, now I didn't drive it during the hours that it's super busy, because that probably would have been a 50-minute or an hour and a half. It would have been a super long video. I just know right now, people buying in Princeton that are work from home people, they're going to be fine, because if you're not having to commute out to things, but just kind of keep that in mind right now, that could be a thing. Also, another thing that I want to mention is the airport that's around here. So the airport right now, and Steve, I don't know if you've kind of kept up to date with McKinney and the things. Last year, McKinney was voting on expanding this airport to, by 2030, they were going to be doing about 30 commercial flights. So just kind of keep that in mind too, is that you could see this area and this airport, you could see that bill get reintroduced. It was split about 49-51 on yes and no, so it ended up not passing. But not to say that they won't introduce this later on, but you could start to see this McKinney National Airport really start turning into a commercial, and then a lot of people around this area of McKinney, Fairview, New Hope, and Princeton are not going to be too happy with that, right? Because you're going to now start having commercial flights. I'm not going to say you're going to get, like, I've lived out in Frisco, Plano, McKinney, these areas my whole life. You still notice some of the commercial flights. You're not going to get away from it for the DFW airport, which is located all the way down here in Irving and Grapevine. So even with this airport here, you still notice some of these flights coming in, even in the Frisco, McKinney, Prosper areas. So just because you're further north, you're not really going to get away from that. But I just want you to know that if you are looking in Princeton, it is something to kind of think about. You know, if you are going to be buying, this could become a big commercial airport. So keep that in mind too. I definitely will look at Van Alstyne if you haven't, because traveling down 75 into McKinney is not a bad drive. They have that expanded out now. It does get into like a 2-lane highway system, but I find traffic not to be bad. Not like what it is for McKinney, because there's no stoplights on 75 highway. The thing that gets 380 down here in Princeton is really the stoplights. That's the major problem. But Steve, send me a text. If you're not working with an agent right now, I mean, I'd love to work with you and help you on your search. I got my information down below. I also put my number in the chat too. So send me a text and I can send you over some more neighborhoods or details that I kind of like. More than the Princeton area, because like I said, the builders over in Princeton, and you might not be looking for new construction, but if you are looking for new construction, I think there's better builders in some other places. The northest I've looked at is Anna. So I think that's the other thing with Anna right now too, is like you look at Anna, you see those prices. The thing with Anna is that the neighborhoods within there still aren't going to have like the higher end builders. I find that Van Alstyne actually has like some pretty nice builders within it. Like Highland Homes is building in a couple areas. They have like a big master plan community. A lot of these communities in here aren't going to be, they're going to be some master plan communities, but they're not going to be on the scale of like Mantua Point. I really do think you should look at, yeah, you didn't like, yeah. So I think Van Alstyne, so here's what all right. Steve, I want you to do your homework. Look at Mantua Point, because Mantua Point is going to be something where the neighborhood's going to be getting built out for the next 10 years. I also want you to think about things like new construction, buying at the beginning of a neighborhood versus the end of the neighborhood. If you're buying at the beginning of the neighborhood, you're going to start getting that built-in equity, because the new construction homes are just going to get more expensive, rather than buying in a community where majority of it is already built out or they're on their closeout. Now they might be offering a better deal on those closeout homes, right, to sell them when they're at the end of the community, but you're still going to be buying a home that's probably going to be more on the top of the market within that neighborhood, rather than something like this Mantua Point, where it's going to be a 3,000 acre master plan community. It's going to have all the amenities in it. They're going to be building the new school. It's going to be a new elementary school right in here, and then they're also about done with the high school, the new Van Alstyne High School that's going to get built in here. So this community is going to have all the new stuff, and newer is always better. So definitely look at this. And this community I don't think is in a bad spot, because you're not right off 75 highway where the homes are backed up to it, but you are pretty close to where it's going to be a pretty easy commute down into McKinney. Even like to get up into Van Alstyne from Plano is about 30 minutes. So even that kind of commute down to the Frisco area, I don't think it's bad. I think people are going to start going up to Van Alstyne. How long does it normally take for the community to go from 0 to 90-ish? What do you mean 0 to 90-ish? Like 90% done? Like 0% to 90% done? Yeah, if you didn't like Anna ISD, I think, okay. Yeah, if you didn't like Anna ISD, you'll like Van Alstyne more. Van Alstyne's going to be rated higher, I believe, with some things. And also when they get the new elementary school and the new high school there, it's going to be better than probably majority of the stuff that's going on in Anna, too. I don't think it's going to outrank Melissa, or at least it's going to be right there with it. How long does it normally take? So that really depends. It depends on the community, right? Like, you have some communities that are only building 100 homes, and they could be done within a year. You know, selling all their lots, or 2 years, right? Selling all those lots and having 3 builders within the community. And then you have another community where it's 3,000 acres and it's going to take 10 years. So it depends on the size of the lots. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. It also depends on the city, because a lot of these neighborhoods over in Salina, like for example, the parks at Wilson Creek should have already been into their phase 2, but since they've been having transformer issues with the city of Salina and getting power out to places, they've been delayed on some things. So, and that was because of like supply chain issues, stemming all the way back from like 2020 and 2021 from getting things to. So that also could play a factor too. So I can't really give a timeline. Like, if you ask me a community, right, I'd be able to talk to the builder, and then the builder would have a better idea. But even sometimes the builder doesn't know, because the community is so dang big that it's just going to take a long time. Yeah. So, kind of depends. But for sure, look up into Van Alstyne. There's Thompson Farms and there's Mantua Point. I think then those are 2 communities that I did some neighborhood tours over. I think those could be some good options for people. And I think people are sleeping on Van Alstyne right now, and where that neighborhood is located, kind of relatively, you know, close to McKinney, close to those areas, because you're right off 75 highway. The other thing to think about is if you're living over off 75 highway, even if you got to commute down to Dallas one day, it's probably about a 45-50 minute drive depending on the traffic, but you're not spending any money on tolls. Rather than if you lived in Salina and, like, let's say that you had to commute down in Dallas, you could be spending $10 a day on tolls easily, having to go down the Dallas North Tollway. So and I don't know if you're familiar with that, Steve, but you got 75 highway, that's a freeway, and then you got the Dallas North Tollway. The Dallas North Tollway is what's going to cost people money getting down into Dallas. And then you've got 35 highway that runs up into Denton. That's another freeway that goes through Corinth, Highland Village, Flower Mound, and then kind of goes around Farmers Branch, goes around the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. So you have 2 highway systems that are freeways up in this northern area, but then you have the Dallas North Tollway right here that's getting built out through or about to start getting built out through Salina. But, you know, something to think about, that if you are a commuter, you're going to be on a freeway, so you won't be having to pay for tolls, which is kind of convenient. So, okay, Steve, well, hopefully that answered some of your questions. Yeah, go look at my driving videos. Love some of those that you did with Melissa. Yeah, Melissa, you know, I like Melissa in some aspects. I just don't really like these neighborhoods that are more on the east side of Melissa, because of this landfill here. I'm not, you know, people are buying over in this Liberty community, and some of them aren't even, or like Mulraney Ranch right here, where you get this beautiful view. You just get a gorgeous view over a landfill. So, you know, maybe some people are into that, but I ain't. So I'd rather buy more on the west side over here at Stone Ridge. Taylor Morrison just opened their phase 2, which they're going to have a lot of lots in here that have some nice privacy with some tree lines. So if you're looking for that too, guys, I could go on and on. Right? I'm living and breathing this real estate thing. So if you do have any questions, just send me a text. I'm going to get off right now. I got to go hop in the car. So if you guys have any questions, leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll answer them next weekend. I should be able to do a live stream, and then if you have any other specific questions, or you do want to work with me on your home search, please send me a text. But other than that, guys, I will see you. I'm looking at my calendar right now. What's the calendar? Ooh, Super Bowl Sunday. All right, we'll do a live stream Super Bowl Sunday. That's fine. That is okay. I'll do that. We'll do it next Sunday, guys. All right, take it easy, y'all. I will see y'all later. Thank you to everyone that stayed around. It looks like we had a decent amount of people join in today and kind of stay current with the video. It looked like we stayed around like 10 viewers at a time for the most part. So thank you guys so much. Bye.